Hello, I'm Jonasz Lewiński, and you're watching Break the Fake. They make them, we break them, and tell you everything you need to know. So Dmitry Medvedev, the former Russian president who's found a second career as a fiery propagandist, recently took his brand of diplomacy to new heights by openly threatening the construction of ammunition factories in Ukraine. In response to Ukraine's partnership with the German defense giant Rheinmetall, Medvedev wrote, and I quote, "We eagerly await Russian holiday fireworks directly at the production site." And of a very bad quote. For extra emphasis, he paired this remark with a video clip of a large explosion, just in case anyone missed the message. Now let's pause here for a moment. What Medvedev essentially did was openly broadcast a veiled threat of sabotage or even direct attack on a foreign industrial site, on a platform for the world to see. This isn't diplomacy. It's trolling at a state level, delivered with all the subtlety of a sledgehammer. In his mind, no doubt, Medvedev sees this posturing as strategic, a sign that Russia is still a force to be feared and reckoned with. But to the outside world, it reads more like desperation. With Ukraine's allies bolstering their defense capabilities through strategic investments, the Kremlin's reaction is to amplify its threats, hoping to rattle Western resolve. Yet, instead of fear, what it's more likely to evoke is increased support for Ukraine and its defense initiatives. Meanwhile, Medvedev's veiled threats only serve to highlight Russia's frustration as Ukraine's defense infrastructure strengthens with international backing. In short, Medvedev may call it holiday fireworks, but the world sees it as more bluster, another failed attempt to intimidate, wrapped up in aggressive rhetoric and internet bravado. The Putin-supporting Grannies Brigade strikes again. This time they're up in arms about TNT's upcoming series Goodbye, a satirical take on re-educating none other than Joe Biden in Russia, with actor Dmitry Duzhev playing the lead role. Now, if anyone needed a publicity boost, these pensioners just handed it to them on a silver platter. In their latest video, the Grannies passionately demanded the first episode's premiere be cancelled, likely unintentionally giving the show more buzz than any marketing campaign ever could. After all, who could resist tuning in after such a dramatic protest?
Это официальное обращение к телеканалу ТНТ, который хочет сегодня в 9 часов вечера показать сериал «Гудбай» про Джо Байдена.
Да-да, про того самого Джо по-американскому.
ТНТ, отмените показ. Хоть нам и хочется посмотреть, как сыграет наш любимка Дюжев, но мы категорически против. У этого Байдена нет ни стыда, ни совести, ни снился, ни личного кабинета в госуслугах. Он же пропащий. Зачем про него сериал? Отмените! Давай! Гудбай сериал! Гудбай!
Надеемся, что сегодня в 9 часов вечера на ТНТ будет профилактика.
Да!
It is ironic and almost poetic that a parody meant to poke fun at American politics is ruffling the feathers of Putin's loyal squad. One has to wonder, are they really that offended, or are they just performing their usual patriotic duty? Either way, the publicity is priceless, and now this series might have a far larger viewership just eager to see what all the fuss is about. Bravo, Grannies, you probably just helped create the next big hit. Now, Solovyov, ever the poet of geopolitics. Here he is again, summoning the anti-imperialist forces of the world to join his crusade against those, and I quote, NATO scum. Quite the noble rhetoric for a man representing a country currently embroiled in its own land grab, don't you think? This is like the fox calling the hens to unite against the farmer while quietly eyeing up the chicken coop.
Если плечом к плечу с нами станут все антиимпериалистические силы, я лично буду этому только рад. Потому что я считаю, что натовскую сволочь надо уничтожать всюду, где она появляется и пытается продолжать свою традицию колонизации народов. Поэтому если Авдей Аронович Алаудинов рассказывал, как немецкую речь на Курщине слышали, то неужели они считают, что мы будем сожалеть о том, когда гробы поедут в Германию? Сейчас вся Британия аплодирует тому, как они подготовили летчиков. Да сдохнут! Сдохнут! При том, как они, так и неплохо бы, если их инструкторы. Я вообще не понимаю, например, почему база подготовки укронацистов на территории стран НАТО не могут для нас являться законной целью. Я считаю, что мы должны прямо в зародыше их уничтожать. Их для чего готовят? Чтобы они бомбили Крымский мост? Да. Мирные города Херсонщины и Запорожья наносили удар вглубь территории России?
You know, if people could literally die from cringe, the casualties would number in the thousands. What's even richer is the portrayal of NATO as a colonial force, as though history hasn't left a vast record of Russian, well, let's say, territorial enthusiasm. But here we have Solovyov claiming the moral high ground with the conviction of a man who clearly never checked his own backyard. Perhaps he imagines a coalition of anti-imperialist super friends coming together under his leadership, united in a shared dream of, well, a different brand of imperialism. At the end of the day, his words are more of the same, rallying against the West while avoiding any inconvenient reflection on Russia's own traditions in dealing with its neighbors. The G7 leaders have agreed to use the profits from frozen Russian assets to help Ukraine repay a substantial $50 billion loan. Unsurprisingly, Russia's foreign ministry quickly responded. Maria Zakharova, known for her flair for melodrama, called the decision another fraud. In an extensive statement, she condemned the move as a new level of cynicism and lack of principles that is simply unacceptable, accusing the West of exploiting a supposed moral high ground. So, in the Russian diplomatic playbook, aiding Ukraine equates to deception, and freezing assets is branded as blatant aggression. Ironically, in the view of Moscow, the real cynicism is that Ukraine is receiving help and Russia is facing consequences for its own actions on the international stage. If there is one thing Russia excels at, it is repackaging accountability as an unjust act against them. But, I mean, we've already seen this happening, so again, more of the same. And with this, we conclude this episode of Break the Fake. Please stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news and updates. I'm Jonasz Rewicki. Bye for now.